But to start with, the stock of the day, we're really leaning into the small caps theme this Friday, is Diverger as the stock of the day. So the financial services provider is eyeing off Centrepoint Alliance to increase its market share. So it's put a bid of more than $30 million on the table, plus Diverger stock on offer. So what do our experts make of the deal? And I guess in general, sort of the potential for more M&A activity in that area of the small cap universe. Claude, can I start with you, Diverger?
Sure, yeah. So I should disclose I own shares in Diverger, and I'm surprised to see it being acquired. I thought the shares of Diverger are really cheap. They trade on a dividend yield of around 4 to 5%, or maybe 4.5%, I think, at the moment, and a PE ratio of probably like 10 to 15 if you're looking at the FY 2022, or at least my best guess at it. And so it's sort of like own that as like a bit of a value stock. Got some, reasonable businesses in there. It's a combination of, I guess, financial advice style businesses, but also, more importantly, just providing that back end to financial advisors. So, and also accountants. So we're talking about, basically the training and the worksheets and the all the kind of materials that they might need to use to maintain their professional standing, and also to do their run their day-to-day business, practice notes and the like. So I like that aspect of it. And so I guess this potential takeover makes sense. Now, it's not a done deal. I think they've got a right to 19% of CAF, but that doesn't mean the whole deal's going to get done. And basically, it would make at least some sense from the point of view of if they add a whole bunch of financial advisors and stuff, then presumably they can start using their back end services to supply them and support them. So that would be a positive. There's some vertical integration advantages there. On the other hand, as a shareholder, I'm a little more sanguine at the thought of issuing a whole bunch of shares to pay for an acquisition when I already consider the shares to be cheap. Generally not the kind of play I would like to see is issuing cheap shares. I'd probably actually prefer a company be buying back cheap shares. So yeah, not feeling super excited about that aspect of it, and definitely concerned if they try and they take a swing and a miss and there's a whole bunch of distraction and it doesn't come through. But also if it does come through, you're going to have a significantly bigger company. There's going to be some vertical integration. And one of the reasons that I think Diverger is cheap is because it's so small, so under the radar, so liquid, nobody cares about it or looks at it. So just it getting bigger could actually have a benefit, especially, if and when we get through this tough cycle. A lot of financial advisors have left the market. These guys will be one of the bigger players remaining there, that could put them in a strong position for good earnings growth, and then there'll be a bigger company. They'll probably catch the eye of more investors. So once we get into a bull market, I could definitely see it re-rating. So not a terrible idea, definitely waiting and watching, but no clear verdict from me about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing yet.
Well, good, bad. Luke, I'll ask you the same question, but could it also be complicated by some other company coming in with a counteroffer for Centrepoint?
For sure. It's a very complicated, a lot of complicating factors to this, and I've had a very interesting looking over it today. So, I used to work for an advisory business, and I can see the appeal that Diverger, Centrepoint, these businesses have, because you have advisors who just want to help their clients, but they just get beaten down with red tape and compliance. And so you come in, you take all that back office compliance stuff off them, and then it becomes a game of scale, because that's not fixed costs, but you can definitely get leverage over that. And so a tie-up like this to take what would be maybe the third and fourth biggest players in the market, you get some real scale behind it. I can definitely see the appeal of making an offer like this. But to dig into a few things that Claude mentioned, this is a smaller business trying to take over a larger one. You don't see that very often. It's normally the other way around. And it's also the business trading on a lower valuation using script to take over a business on a higher valuation, which Claude was alluding to. So I actually wonder whether this is in the best interest of everybody, and if the idea is to have these two businesses come together, is it better off using the Centrepoint Alliance script, but being more higher valued? You would have less of it. You also have Hub owns a big chunk of Diverger, and Clearview Wealth owns a big chunk of Centrepoint Alliance. I don't really know what their views would be on this. They're obviously there for some strategic alliance to be close to an advisor network. Would they support any sort of takeover? I guess so, but hard to know. And then my big one, as to Claude sort of alluded to, I think this is one where I could see maybe egos coming into it. If this doesn't go through at first, it could really drag on. Mostly because of the way it's been structured, going through Thorny with a call option. It's a very aggressive method to try and get, not control of the business, but a stake where Centrepoint has to listen to you closely. So I agree with Claude, just watch it. I think if this happens smoothly, I would really take a close look at this business, because you're getting some real scale into a business that needs scale. But as it stands today, I would just watch how this all plays out, because there's a lot of moving parts to it, for sure.
So stand back and watch this one happen. So Claude, are you holding on to Diverger though?
Yeah, definitely not taking any action right now. Like, as it stands, I still think the stock is cheap, but that I don't think this will blow up the business, but I definitely think that there's more risk in it trying to pull off something of this scale, for sure.
Yeah, you sound a bit flat over this one, to say the least, Claude.